Hey, listen, have you ever told a story and when you were done, it just felt like the story landed flat? Maybe people didn't connect, or you thought to yourself like, man, that did not go the way that I intended. Well, let me tell you something. Chances are it had nothing to do with your story and everything to do with your story structure. In this video, I'm going to give you a simple 3-part structure so that the next time you're going to go ahead and share and tell your story, it can be powerful, effective, and land on your audience. My name is Andy Enriquez. I'm a business storytelling coach and the founder of the Master Storyteller Academy. I have literally trained thousands of speakers, entrepreneurs, coaches, and experts how to use stories to connect with their customers and their clients. And I'm going to show you a powerful framework so the next time you're telling your story, you can feel confident and bold. First of all, let's talk about the real problem. The real problem is not that you don't have a great story. The problem is when you start telling the story, you start doing a whole bunch of rambling. And because of the fact that you're rambling, you start losing your confidence. You start losing your confidence. Guess what also happens? You start losing your audience. And the worst part of all is it crash and burn at the very end. Now, let me tell you what I mean by that. Every time you get an opportunity to start sharing and telling a story, you are essentially taking your audience on a ride. I want you to envision that when you start telling your story, that people are boarding a plane and you are the pilot on that plane. Now, here's the problem. If you don't know where that plane is going, if you don't know exactly when and how you're going to land the plane, eventually, you know what's going to happen? You're going to run out of gas. And not only are you going to run out of gas, the plane is going to crash and burn, including your audience and the people who are listening in. So let me go ahead and break down this structure. First and foremost, part 1 of the structure is that there must be some type of context. Now, when you think about context is not about loading up your audience or your listener with a whole bunch of information, but it's about giving them enough information and context so that they understand where you're going with the story, but most importantly, so that they lean in as opposed to lean out. Now, I want to take you back to the old school. Remember being back in grade school, you're getting ready to write a paper, and one of the things they told you is that it's very important that you answer these questions: who, what, when, where, and why, right? There's a reason why they gave you that framework. When you begin to share and tell a story, it is so important for your audience that they have some level of context so that they can have some type of idea of where you're going with the story. And if there is no context, then they have no reason to lean in, and most likely they're going to check out. So here's something I want you to consider. When you're getting ready to go ahead and share and tell your story, I want you to think about what is it that you need to share with your audience to give them enough context so that they actually want to follow along with you in the story. So I want you to think about this for a moment. This is the classic example. Even in fairy tales, we've seen this before. What is the classic line? You know what it is. Once upon a time. So I want you to think about this. You open up the book for a fairy tale, and what do you hear? Once upon a time, in a far, far land, there was a beautiful, beautiful princess. And this beautiful princess came from a royal family. But down in the village was this terrible, terrible peasant man who he had a great, generous heart, but his family came from poverty. And they saw each other from afar and they fell in love, right? And so what happened is you needed to know that there was a princess. You needed to know that she was coming from this rich royal family. You needed to know that there is this peasant boy that she has fallen in love with, that her father and her mother disagree with her falling in love with a peasant. All of this is simply context so that you're actually going to follow along and care about what happens between this beautiful princess and this peasant boy. This is what we refer to as context. And so here's what I want you to think about. If your audience, your customer, your client does not have context, chances are they're not going to have any reason to follow along with you in the story. Now, the second part of the framework is very important because once we have context, the other thing that's super important is we've got to introduce some type of conflict. Listen to me carefully. I want you to write this down, right? No conflict, no story. Listen, if you go to the movie theaters and you go see an amazing movie, I don't care what it is, right? So we think of one of the big action heroes of back in the day, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Could you imagine going to an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, right? He's been in the Terminator, all these great movies, and you went to the movie and Arnold Schwarzenegger woke up in the morning and he started off by walking into the kitchen, kissing his wife, giving her a hug. He went to work, had a fabulous day at work, and then came home, tucked everybody in the bed, and nothing happened. You know what you'd be? You'd be very upset and you'd be asking for a refund. And the reason why is because you're saying to yourself, there needs to be conflict. Something needs to happen. And without conflict, there is no story. I'll tell you this. When I was growing up as a kid, I used to watch this cartoon called The Smurfs. I don't know if you know anything about the Smurfs, but they were these little blue creatures, these little blue people. They had a wonderful little happy-go-lucky theme song that they used to sing all day long, and it sounded something like this. La 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 la. La 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 la. Now here's the thing. No matter how much you enjoy watching people be happy, at some point, eventually, you get a bit annoyed. Because you're like, will you stop singing the la 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 la? Here's what happens. If you have a story that has no conflict, you know what it sounds like after a while? La 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 la. So here's what they realized. Even in that cartoon, they realized that they needed conflict. So they introduced a villain, right? This guy was a terrible wizard. His name was Gargamel, and his life purpose was to destroy the Smurfs. Now, why did they do that? Because they understand that even in a children's cartoon, and I know some of you adults have enjoyed it too, but they understand even in a children's cartoon, there has to be conflict. So here's the thing I want you to understand. No conflict, no story. So the next time you're getting ready to share and tell your story, you better be clear on what is the conflict, because the conflict is what's going to get people engaged. The conflict is what's going to get people to care. And the conflict is what's going to set up part 3. And so part 3 of story structure is what we refer to as the conclusion. Remember what I told you? When you begin to share and tell the story, you are essentially taking your audience, taking your clients on the airplane for this amazing flight. And I want you to imagine boarding a plane and the pilot having no idea as to where the pilot is going, and we know exactly what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen? The pilot's going to take off of that runway. They're going to go around in circles, and eventually the plane is going to run out of gas. It's going to run out of fuel, and once the plane runs out of fuel, you know what happens? The plane is going to crash and burn. And not only does the pilot crash and burn, but everybody on the flight is going to experience the crash and burn. And that is exactly what happens when you begin to share and tell a story and you have no idea on how you're going to land the plane. You start rambling, you're sharing a whole bunch of information, you have no idea what the destination is, and the worst thing that could ever happen, and I know this has happened to you, have you ever been speaking to a friend and dead smack in the middle of them sharing something with you, they go, you know what? I forgot why I was telling you this. What was I telling you again? And you're like, wait a second, are you kidding me? Did you just have me sit here and listen to your story for the last 10, 15 minutes and you don't even know why you were telling me this story? What happened is they did not even have a destination. There was no conclusion. So every great story, there's got to be some type of a conclusion. In other words, there's got to be a payoff. Like, is there a lesson? Is there something you want someone to shift their perspective about? Is there some kind of major takeaway? There's gotta be some type of a conclusion so that the people who are on the plane can actually feel as if they have arrived to a destination. Listen, the next time you are getting ready to share and tell your story, understand that the problem is not that you don't have a great story. The problem is is that you don't have story structure. And if you can remember this 3-part structure, everything can shift. Number 1, you got to make sure you have context. Who, what, when, where, and why. Give people a reason to want to go with you on the ride. Give them a reason to lean in as opposed to lean out. Number 2, there's got to be conflict. Remember what I told you? No conflict, no story. Listen, they even know in cartoons that they got to create a villain, because the only way people are going to actually care is that something has to happen. There's got to be conflict. And then finally, you got to make sure that you land the plane. There's got to be a conclusion. You got to know where you're going, because you're responsible not only as the storyteller, but you're responsible for the audience and everyone who's listening along with you. Listen, if you enjoyed this video, if you got some great value, here's what I want you to do. Make sure you hit the like button, make sure you subscribe, and go ahead and put your comments down in the chat. I read all of your comments, and let me know what you would love for me to go ahead and put in the next video. And also, if you got great value from this video, I want you to check out the next video, because it's going to show you exactly how you can find your story if you've ever struggled with finding your story.